What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Be Better podcast, episode 23, with a special guest of ours, Kim Graybill. Kim, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Very good, very good. Matt, everything good on your end?
It's going great. Nice to have you on the podcast, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you and Matt talked a little bit before. I actually haven't really got to interact or talk to you too much. So, could you just give people like me who don't know too much about you the whole rundown, kind of like, what your journey consisted of, where you started, all that good stuff, and we can kind of go from there.
Sure. Hi, my name is Kim Graybill. I'm known as the Chronic Health Warrior because I battled 36 years with multiple autoimmune conditions and achieved symptom and med-free for over 5 years. It started when I was a newborn. I was rushed to the ICU due to breathing problems. And from there, as a baby, it grew into issues with my skin. I had itchy rash all over my body. It covered 90% of my body, and it caused me throughout much of my life having to wear long sleeve shirts during the summertime. And it became a challenge because I had many failed treatments with that. When fifth and sixth grade started, it progressed more. I started getting swelling in my joints as that caused issues with fluid buildup on my knees. I had to go to the hospital a lot because I had to have a procedure done where they drained my knees of the fluid, and it was a very painful procedure that I had to go through, and I was on crutches most of those 2 years, and it became a challenge in school being able to do the things that I wanted to do. In junior high, I also started with digestive problems. A lot of the food that I was eating was causing issues, causing me to be sick, and it developed where I didn't want to eat around other people because I became self-conscious as well as embarrassed because I would either get sick or I just would have horrible cramps and just not feel good, and it became very embarrassing. So I ended up stopped eating a lot around other people. In high school, it really became kind of the turning point because I was involved in a really bad, severe car accident.
Wow.
I had got my license and it was winter time. I had gone into school that morning just like any other morning, and I ended up leaving school because I had an internship with an elementary school at the time. And I went home, and unbeknownst to me, they had freshly paved the road. So I wasn't aware at the time that when they freshly paved, the oils would kind of go to the top. So I ended up driving and I hydroplaned and I ran into a tree. And I remember waking up because I had a concussion, and there was blood like on my head, and I hit my head really hard. I couldn't open my door, so I had to crawl to the other side, and I ended up having to find where the nearest house was, which was in a very rural area. So I ended up having to walk a mile, and my leg was severely damaged. I ended up getting nerve damage, and it started the first lesion
Wow.
of many on my brain. So I ended up getting dismissed from the hospital. They said I had a lesion on my brain, and years had gone by. I had two daughters. I went through a horrible divorce, and then I ended up remarrying, and I had another son, and he started to have a lot of health problems also, and I didn't know where it was coming from. He had multiple allergies, he had breathing problems, he also had a lot of food sensitivities as well as food impactions. So I was dealing with my health complications as I was dealing with my sons, and we all decided to take a family trip, and we went to go camping. We went on a little island, and we went for a 10-mile hike because amongst everything, I always have been very active, and I ended up getting bit by a tick. And that started even more complications with my health. I, we all, we, when we went to the point, we all took off about 20 ticks from each of us because we had got into a nest, and it was the time where we didn't even know, and it, I guess, hatched them all. And so I was here making sure all the kids were safe, picking them off them, making sure they're off me. We were running the 10 miles back to our campsite. So that was quite challenging, and I was really concerned with the kids. I wanted to make sure that they didn't have any complications. So when we got back home after that trip, didn't sleep at all that night because I was watching, making sure there was no more on us. I was the only one that had the flu-like symptoms and was sick. I had to go on treatment again. And I remember having to go to Boston because my son had to have treatment for his stuff. And it was a very long trip. It was one of the hardest days of my life because I had to ask for help because I couldn't drive my son down to the hospital because it was 2 hours away where he had to go. So I was getting sick all the way down, and that was like one of the hardest times. So couple more years went by. My sister-in-law had gone to the hospital, and she was supposed to get discharged, but she didn't end up getting discharged. She ended up passing away. She was only 34 years old, and she it was really hard because she had 4 kids of her own, and my kids were really close with her. So it put a lot of stress on our family losing her. And 2 months after that was when the doctors told me I had 6 months to live. And it kind of really put me into a very deep, dark hole. I felt like there was no way out. I had absolutely no hope that I would get better because the doctors said, you have 12 lesions on your brain. We are shocked that you're not already in a wheelchair. If you do not continue this treatment, then you're going to be dead within the next 6 months. And it became one of the scariest times of my life because I ended up walking out because I told them that there had to be a better path and that I would find it for my son too, because the doctors told him he would have to go on the G-tube because he was failure to thrive. He was 4.5 at that time. He maybe said about 2 to 3 word sentences. He had to have his routine a certain way. He would rock a lot, and they told me that that was the only option because we had been rushing to the hospital with him with ER visits because of allergies, and he had to have an EpiPen. And I just was like, there has to be a better way for us because I had the stress of taking care of my son, and then I had the stress of me going through everything with me not being able to get up a lot of times. Some days I just wanted to be in a dark room in the corner because the migraines were so intense that I just could not function.
There's so much to unpack there. I don't know where to start, to be honest. It's not too often that we meet with people that, most people we meet with have a difficult story, right? And it comes with, hey, everything was great till I was 16, then something happened. And then it was really tough till I was 30, and then we found a solution, right? In your case, it seems like you're 36, you said?
Day one.
I'm 42,
You're
but
42 now.
I battled the issues for 36 years since I was a baby.
Yeah, so it sounds like from day one to day, whatever that is of year 36, it was a battle the whole time. I mean, it just doesn't seem like you got any relief. You got a break. I mean, and I want to say God bless, and I'm happy that you're here because that's pretty remarkable. I mean, 6 months to live, and here you are many, many years later, and obviously proving the doctor's wrong. I have an initial question for you really quick because the tick thing that you experienced runs in my family. Multiple people of mine has had tick affiliated illnesses. me being myself, I'm a hunter fisherman. I am constantly in the woods. Let me fix my camera real quick. Sorry, guys. I am constantly in the woods throughout the summer, and I have had hundreds of ticks on me, and it is one of my greatest fear of getting these illnesses. Um, what did you have? Did you have Lyme disease or alpha gal?
I had Lyme.
Okay. So that's really, really, for those of people that don't know what Lyme disease is, it's literally swelling of the brain, swelling of the spinal fluid and tissue. It's a brutal, brutal, brutal disease. And the mortality rate is fairly low now. 50 years ago, it was almost a death sentence. But forget about the mortality rate. The recovery of that is so strenuous and so long, and there's so many complications, and it's just so many. Oh my goodness, I can't imagine how that was. So walk me through that if you can, like the recovery phase, and what were some of the symptoms you were having? I'm just so curious in your perspective of uh, just one little portion of what you said. I'm just curious of that just at the top of my head. What was that like?
I had the flu-like symptoms. The first time I got Lyme, I had to be on medicine. I ended up going on Doxy, and that made me sick. Like,
Mm.
I couldn't keep food down. I was
It's such a
really sick
rough antibiotic.
with it. Yeah. And I just wanted to be in bed. I had migraines. It was it was about 8 weeks that I was on that medicine.
My goodness. On
Yeah.
top of all the other things that you've already experienced. So
Yeah.
let's back it up then way back when. I know you said that you've had issues and complications since birth, essentially. Um, What was your parents' kind of response and action whenever you started having those complications? I know, I mean, you're not old by God bless, but 42 years ago, medical science and medical procedures it's a world night and day difference than what it is now. So, for example, 42 years ago, nobody really knew a thing about autism. Nobody knew, a thing about certain mental disorders, let alone dietary disorders or digestive problems, right? I don't think Crohn's disease was even diagnosed back then. So, what was kind of like your parents' initial reaction, and kind of what was the game plan back then?
They took me to the doctors a lot, and I had to go on and off treatment for much of my youth. So it was difficult because it seemed whatever I was on would work for a short time, then it wouldn't work anymore. And then I would get put on something else and then it would work for a little bit and then it wouldn't work. Or then I would put on something else and it wouldn't work. And then it got to a point that I had to have shots for the skin problems. And then with the fluid in the knee, had to keep getting it drained. And that was a process because it took time, and I missed a lot of school growing up because I had to keep going back for more treatment and working to find something that would work.
Yeah,
So that's
so
a good.
basically, they would give you a prescription essentially, or a cure, or a workaround, right? And then your body would
Right.
develop a tolerance to it, and then it's back to square one.
Right.
Yeah, I get that. As somebody who's had a decent amount of medical situations myself growing up, I understand that completely. And it's very frustrating, right? Because you think this is the golden nugget, right? I'm good.
Mhm.
I'm good. Everything's fine. This is going to work, right? And everything works. And then it doesn't.
Right.
And now you're back to the drawing board, and the doctors only have limited options, which we're going to cover into a little bit later about your story and how you've been able to defy odds rather than, use
Yeah.
their options. So I have a question for you really quick. So, this is a little not off topic, but like kind of out in left field. So bear with me. But like you said, you missed a lot of school. Obviously, you've had all these complications.
Mhm.
Did you get any backlash from fellow students? Like, because young kids, they don't understand those things, right? So, like, what was that experience like growing up, being in a school system that especially back then, right? Nowadays, you say something bad about somebody, you're getting expelled, but back then, it was a lot more ruthless. So, like, what was that experience like?
It was difficult. I did get looks from the other kids because they didn't understand my skin, and then when I wear long sleeves in the summer they kind of laugh because, oh well, why is she wearing long sleeve? But I got to a point where, should I wear long sleeve to hide my skin, or should I not wear long sleeve? I had issues too where when I was out in the sun too long my skin would just burn like a lobster.
Yeah.
So that was another issue I had during the summertime that I had to cover so that I wouldn't damage my skin more because I was already going through the skin problems.
Yeah, so it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't, right?
Right.
God bless. I just feel so sorry, and I'm sorry to hear that because I can only imagine how, because like you said, right, kids don't understand. Um,
Right.
you know, I'm sure those kids are good people now. I hope, right? Hopefully, they didn't grow up and be degenerates. But, um, you know, kids don't understand, and kids can be so cruel when they don't understand. I know there was a special needs kid in my elementary school, and he wasn't severely special needs by any means, but I didn't understand. And anytime he did something different, we would talk, joke, you know, be kids, and it's not right, but you know, like there's no understanding, right? But I can only imagine, you know, being 27, turning 28, when I think about that, if I was in his position, how terrible that'd make me feel, how alone
Right.
on an island that would make me feel. So I just want to, once again, I think your strength here, um, and your perseverance is phenomenal and through the roof. So I mean, it's one, it's amazing. Your will to live is great, and two, that you were able to put up with all those social issues as well in the same time. So I commend you, and that's you have a lot of respect over here that you're building with me. So I appreciate you a lot.
Thank you.
Kim, so I kind of want to touch base on that. So uh, it must have been a huge struggle that in high school. How did you find a safe zone to deal with all this? I know physically it had been hurting, but mentally, I mean, I'm sure that was impactful as well. What are
I
some?
was really quiet. I was one that was also, when I was younger, in the special need, like special education system, because I had an ear infection that got really bad when I was younger. Because when I was younger, they didn't know the proper way to take care of it. They're like, oh, it'll just get better on its own. And it ended up popping. So I am partly deaf in one ear because of it. And that kind of caused issues with processing when I was younger. And I always had to work a lot harder than I noticed other people having to work harder. Like it seemed growing up, oh, well, they can just study for like 10 minutes and they get an A. And then here I am studying for 2 hours just to get a B or
Yeah, just
on my grades. And I had to work really hard in school.
Yeah, my cousin, unfortunately, he's a lot older than you. He's about 61, I believe, but he had a you know, back in the 70s, or excuse me, back in the late 60s, early 70s, when he was a kid, he had a bad ear infection that they said same thing. It'll just go away. Here's some drops, it'll go away. Unfortunately, it didn't,
Yeah,
and he's fully deaf, and without actual, you know, high quality hearing aids, he can't hear anything, you know? So like it's just crazy how far we've went in the last, you know, 50 years, 40 years, 30 years, even 20 and 10 years, right? Where the prescription is, okay, you know, go home, sleep it off, rub some dirt in it, you'll be okay. Versus, hey, this is probably a big deal. We might need to take a second look, and you know, here's 100 different other options we have, right? So yeah, that's this. Oh my God, it's absolutely mind. I
yeah,
wonder
something
how
to
many people are in your position that could potentially have been saved in, or not really saved, you know, because you're not dead, obviously, but you know,
right,
like could have
get to
had better outcomes, right? Like could have had a better quality of life. Maybe you wouldn't have been partially deaf if those doctors would have took a second look.
right.
I smell a lawsuit. I smell medical malpractice. That's what you should do. That's fantastic. Matt, were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
No, I mean, that's just it's crazy how the process has came from and now. So, um, from from high school to college, what was that transition like? Was it getting better? Was it getting worse?
At
What,
high school, I had a group of friends. Everyone has their group of friends. So it high school was good. I was just the quiet one. I didn't want to be out and about talking because it kind of helped with the if you're invisible, then people won't notice you. So I always wanted to be invisible when I was growing up because then it just made things easier and I wasn't picked on or stared at or comments made.
Right, felt more comfortable.
College, you got like I had my group of friends and it was like a fresh start, like anything, and I made some good friends. But once my health started to progress even more, comments were made. People thought I was drunk because I was walking not steady, or I had a drooped face and slurring words. So people thought I was drunk when I was out with my kids, and they just made comments. They would stare. I mean, it's not easy to go through an illness when people don't understand what you're going through. They assume just because you look young or that you look fine one day that everything's picture perfect and you're fine, or if you have a problem where little slurring words, oh, maybe she just drank too much, or they come to conclusions too quickly and they judge pretty quickly.
People are
Yeah,
so cruel.
they
It's
are.
terrible.
Nobody, I mean, it's just people who just don't understand. And then it's actually sometimes what I find as well, because I've been on the other side of this, made fun of people, which I shouldn't have when I was younger.
Mhm.
It comes from a lack of confidence on their end, right? They don't understand you. And instead of figuring out, they have self doubts about themselves. So you're an easy target, right? And especially when one person makes it, then everybody else is going to gang up, right? Because nobody wants to deal with the oddball out, right? The obscurity.
Mhm.
But you know what I find, having many, 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 many remorseful nights thinking about mistakes that I've done and how rude I've been to people in my life, younger, of course. Um, the quiet people like yourself, in my opinion, typically have the best stories to tell and the most important stories to tell, right? The people that talk often typically are just blowing hot air, whereas it's the quiet individuals like yourself that have the most value and the most incredible stories to share with everybody. And I just want to encourage you. Obviously, I know you said before that you were already on some podcasts, and I just encourage you from this point on. Let your voice be heard. Scream it if you have to. Get a megaphone. I don't care what you got to do, but like, make sure you're being heard, because I think just the little tip of the iceberg that we've talked about here. Your story is incredible thus far. I'm waiting ever so patiently in the next couple minutes here to get a little deeper dive into it, but you already overcome so much in the first 15 minutes that we've talked to you. The story's just going to get better, I'm sure. But my whole point of that little rant there is make sure you're heard, because
Mhm.
you're valuable, because your story is fantastic.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's keep going then. We got kind of a rundown of like all these complications and how tough it was. Now let's go into what you did versus what the doctor recommended.
I I started getting my anti-inflammatory diet and gut health. So I also started supplements and good nutrition, where I started a prebiotic and probiotic. And I started those first, watching limiting stress and quality sleep, movement and exercise. Those were the top four I focused on so that I could get well, so that I could be a better mom to my kids.
Mhm.
And I started to see improvements, and my son also started drinking the prebiotic and probiotic, and it was completely kind of by mistake because I started focusing on me, and we were trying to figure out what to do with my son because he had over 40 plus allergies. He wasn't tolerating anything.
Oh,
He was very low in weight. He wasn't growing. He wasn't gaining weight. He was failure to thrive, and we're working to find a way to help him too. On about day 3, he started to drink the prebiotic and probiotic too. He saw me drinking it, so he started drinking it, and we started seeing improvements in him as well, where he started to have more energy. He was starting to sleep at night. Same with me. We started to see the little improvements at first. And then as the month went on, we were able to start adding more things in his diet, where he couldn't have almonds before, or coconuts, or anything. He was down to just corn, and corn is so toxic and inflammatory. They told me to just feed him corn because anything else he would have anaphylaxis, he would break out, he would have food impaction or anything. But with the nutritionist that I had and all the research I was doing, I found out how toxic corn was. and everything that I had been told wasn't the way it was. So I ended up having to delete corn too, and it got into the problem where I had to, with his prebiotic and probiotic, dilute it because he wasn't even holding down fruits, he wasn't holding down vegetables, everything his body was just rejecting. So we diluted it, and he started to get in the nutrients he needed, and that started to help him. So he was able to have peanut butter with no sugar in it, the natural peanut butter, so that we could start getting protein. He was able to have coconut and olive oil, things that his body was deprived in. Like, we started to do smoothies. I had him put different veggies in the smoothie and blend it up so it was liquid form, so it was easier for him to digest. And once we started getting nutrients in, he was starting to get better. By 1 year, 11 lesions were gone for me. And the one that had grown to $half size that I got when I was in the car accident decreased to dime size. And then by 1.5, that one was also gone. He also, all of his allergies had been gone at the 1.5 mark. He didn't have any issues. He wasn't having food impactions anymore. All those symptoms just went away, and the allergist did all the food trials, they did the blood tests, they did everything again, and they saw that he had no allergies. So he no longer needed his EpiPen anymore either.
Wow.
So, and then at about 2 years, we found another step that helped us, phototherapy. So we added that into the 5-step program that I created. I made an ebook, and those were the 5 steps that we focused on to get well, and we have stayed well now for, it will be 6 years in June.
So that's excuse my language, that's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fucking nuts. As somebody who has a couple allergies that I have to, every time I leave the house, I have to carry an EpiPen. I'm definitely allergic to shellfish. I had an incident last year where my throat closed up, and luckily I was able to, for some reason, didn't have an EpiPen at the time, but for some reason my throat opened back up, randomly, very fucking random. It closed, and then I couldn't breathe for a couple minutes, and then just randomly opened. Got lucky. But anyways, you know, that gives people like me hope, because anaphylaxis is often fatal, right? I shouldn't say often, but it can be fatal, right? It's a big deal. But I will tell you, so, or not tell you, I will ask you. So, like, you're talking about, let's start from the beginning, okay? You talked about getting them on a pre and a probiotic.
Yes.
Can you share with me a little bit of like what's in those and how can your boy get some? I mean, God bless.
Was it
Right.
cold or was it liquid?
The prebiotic is an aloe-based prebiotic. It's aloe mango select. It has aloe in it. That's what we use for the prebiotic, because it helps with digestion, it helps with detox, and the extra has over 20 nutrients in it, antioxidants, that helps to get the essentials that your body needs. Because no matter how much we have in our diet, we're not getting enough nutrients in our food. Just by the way it's made now and the way it's processed, it's not as high in nutrients as it was when we were younger. So having the supplements and the extra on top of our diet, I found is important.
For sure. So that makes sense. I'm not a too big holistic person, but I know that, you know, people live that way for hundreds of thousands of years before modern medicine. So like I am the kind of guy where like I don't even take Tylenol or Advil. I try to be all natural always.
Right.
I had a wisdom tooth come in the other night that I got pulled the other day. And for 3 days until I could get in the dentist's office, I did peppermint tea and honey, and I would drink the tea, and then I would take the tea bag out and put it on that tooth to numb it. So like I'm 100% a player in your space of being holistic and natural. It's the way to do it, in my opinion. that cut down my inflammation incredible, but it's a natural way, right? I didn't have to take a
Right.
pill. I didn't have to have any side effects. I didn't get hooked on anything. But where can someone like me buy that?
That's online.
Why aren't you selling it?
Because it's an e-commerce store. It's just something you go online and buy.
You should sell it because your story would support it. You'd be, I mean, that's a good point. But after this, we're gonna get together and I'd like for you to share with me a link because I mean,
Okay.
as somebody like I know in the last like 5 years or so, the word inflammation has really been brought up because nobody thought about it forever, right? And what you said, nutrient, like we always call it nutrient dense, right? So like if you ate a whole thing, a whole packet of strawberries, right? Pretty nutrient dense, right? If you ate a whole pack of cookies, not nutrient dense at all,
No.
right? So like, there's a big difference there between how, like you said, like what our food is made with now, they're cutting out a lot of the nutrients to sell us more junk. Why? Because we eat more. And what does that mean? As we eat more, what does that mean for them? We buy more, right? And then it's kind of a trickle down economics from that point, the whole 9 yards. So we got the prebiotic. I have the worst digestive tract in history of mankind. I swear to God, I'm always having digestive problems because I don't know. Maybe I eat too much spicy stuff. I don't know. But probiotic, when introduced to me, was a game changer, right? It was pretty much
Right.
like a pH balance for my stomach. It's the best.
Mm.
What does your probiotic look like?
The probiotic it has over 20 different nutrients in it, from like blueberries to lots of different things. And it's high in nutrients and antioxidants.
Perfect. So what is your with those two, like what's your intake?
Um, with my diet, like a lot, because I make sure I have different foods like cabbage and spinach and greens through smoothies, through different snacks and lunches. One of my favorites is with cucumbers. You do a chicken salad and then you mix in avocado mayo and then you blend it and then you grind unsweetened cranberries and almonds and then you can wrap it in cabbage, or you can, which is higher in the nutritional dense side than cucumbers, but my kids love them more on cucumbers, so I do it on that. That's one of my favorite go-to quick snack, appetizer, lunch.
I'll have to
Sounds
get that recipe.
sounds really good. Yeah, I'm a huge cranberry guy. I love cranberries,
Yeah.
dried, a whole can, whatever the hell you want. I love them. But so what I meant in that, and I should have clarified, is like when do you take those? I'm assuming you do them in like a smoothie, right? Um,
Or you can put it in with water, and I
you
do
take like
that
one in the morning, one in the evening.
usually one in the morning, sometimes again at night.
Okay, you're doing one of each in the morning.
Right.
I love it.
Well, yeah, one of each in the morning and one of each
So one pre
at
and then
night.
one probiotic.
Right.
Wow, that's fantastic. Okay, good. And then obviously, if you're feeling a little down, pop another one in the evening just to kind of.
Right.
That's so cool. What else? I mean, I know you said some other things. What else have you done? Because obviously the results are there, right? You're
I
living.
think
Right.
you touched the base a little bit on your diet. Can you go a little bit more into that? Is it more like a Mediterranean? Do you some
It's
chicken?
anti-inflammatory, so I do no corn, no gluten, no sugar, no dairy, no hydrogenated oils, fake sugar, processed foods, MSG, caffeine, all that stuff. I learned to eat more healthy. So I do have some of the basic foods like shepherd's pie, chicken pot pie, coconut pancakes, occasional. It's just finding ways to eat them healthier. So instead of using like potatoes, you could use cabbage, like the cauliflower for like rice. You can do different things with food, like spaghetti squash is really good.
Yeah, I've had that. Very good.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ways to still have the normal foods, but just in a healthier way.
Yeah, I think that's half the battle, right? Because like for me, Matt's the same way. We're both bigger guys. We've struggled with weight issues most of our life, but
Mhm.
you can go and do as much exercise as you want, but if your diet is still piss poor, not only is your health overall quality going to diminish, but you're really not going to get the best results, right? I mean,
Right.
your endurance might be fine, but you're still going to be 25% body fat. I mean, in this case, going back to the roots of what people just ate hundreds of years ago before all this BS was added in it. So what was that learning curve like trying to, I mean, pretty much it was life or death for you, right? Either make the jump or that's it. So
Right. I ended
what
up
was that learning curve
just
like?
making the complete jump. I did the first 4 right away. And then as soon as I found out about the phototherapy, I added that into my daily routine too. So those 5 I found is equally important. They're kind of like a puzzle. You can't have one without the other.
For
And
sure.
I just found them to be
Hmm.
both beneficial for both of us.
Yeah, for sure. So where are you I'm totally bought in. I think this is foolproof and it makes perfect sense. Where are you buying these foods from, like local farmers market? Because anytime you go to a store, so I have this app. Everybody
Mhm.
should download it. And they're not a sponsor, by the way,
I
but
got it.
everybody should download this app called Yuka. Yucca, Yuka, whatever it is, right? You've heard that app
Yeah,
before, Kim?
I have not.
orange.
So you scan it, okay, and it's awesome, right? You scan it, okay, and you scan the barcode on any product in a store, anything, and it will give you 0 to 100 its score, right? So for example, the raw broccoli that I eat is 100 out of 100. There's no additives, there's no sugar, it's just raw broccoli. It's great. Now if you went and scanned like a bag of Cheetos, it would be like a 2 out of 100, and it would list every additive, all the sodium, all the junk, all the bad shit that's in it. So we've changed everything in our household, from the water we drink, from the nuts we eat, from the meat we eat, from the canned food, from the real food, everything. I mean, I used to be a big Sprite drinker. Love Sprite. I don't drink
Mhm.
caffeine. I haven't for about 8 years, but Sprite is my soda of choice because it has no caffeine. When I scanned and it said 0 out of 100, and it gave me 40 reasons why Sprite is absolutely killing me, it hasn't been in my house since. I've switched to carbonated water, you know?
So Nate, I don't know if you knew this, but it also does household items like soap, detergent, and all that other stuff as well.
Holy shit, I did not know that.
Yeah, yeah. I had to change my shampoo, my conditioner to like I think Dr. Brown's. It had a better scale, and my deodorant, which I found a big changer in my skin. But
Um,
yeah,
damn, man, now you just fucking changed my life again, because now forget the consumer products I'm eating and putting in my body.
Mm.
Hold on. I chew gum all the time. Let's just do a test for the audience real quick, and then Kim, I want you to get back into your little thing. Hold on, fellas.
some exciting news over here, guys.
This is a
Gum will
try.
have gum will probably most likely have a cellophane in it, which is aspartame.
Oh, so Trident original sugar-free gum. They make it seem like it's fucking good for you.
Yeah,
It's not. It's 39.
yeah.
This is not going to work probably, but oh, there it is. 39 out of 100. And oh my sweet Jesus Christ, 10 additives. Let's see if you were right. You were right. Shocker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically all the gum that's sugar free will have a cellophane, and
It keeps it.
it's how they change the way labels are reading so that it will confuse us, because aspartame is listed in so many different ways. Corn is 100 different ways on labels, and it's crazy trying to keep up with it all.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
love
what do they have now? Like they have like 50 different patented names for sugar,
Yes.
which is bullshit because it's just lying. It's like, hey, this will kill you, but if we call it this, it's not going to kill you. It's the same thing.
Mm.
They're changing it up so the consumer doesn't look at it as a bad lighting versus something. They're just uneducated about it. And then when they do get educated, they just flip it on to something else.
Well,
And,
I
and
read something
natural
interesting.
flavors are not natural flavors most
Oh
of the
yeah,
time.
yeah, 100%. But I
Because
read,
it's corn syrup or something like that.
well, like you ever
Yeah,
looked at bread? Bread is 3 ingredients.
yeah, I make bread here.
Have you ever bought a loaf of bread? How long is the ingredient list?
More
Pretty
than
long.
three.
There's fucking 12 ingredients on there. I'm like, dude, bread is yeast, water, and flour.
Well, you know what they kind of say. They use extra stuff to make it long lasting preservatives, right? Which, and that's a
Dude,
debate
bread's
on
not
itself.
supposed to last that long, dude.
Exactly.
Mm.
Yeast is a living organism. It's not supposed to last that long, dude. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Kim, this is a an epiphany for me, to be honest. Just because I've been on the anti-inflammatory train for quite some time, but like
Mhm.
now you're telling me all this other stuff that makes that it hits the point home, right? And now I
Yeah.
know that, oh damn, it was already tough making the adjustments. Now I really got to commit. Now I really got to, because I know like there's definitely the inflammation thing that you're talking about is so critical. Because I know there's days like when I drink a lot of dairy,
Mhm.
oh dude, I feel like dog trash. I feel
Yeah.
terrible, you know? Days that I don't have sugar, don't have dairy, I feel great. I move faster, I'm more lean, I'm more
Right.
agile, I'm not bloated. I get the gas. My digestive issues that I said earlier are more easier to get along with. I mean,
Right.
wow. So let's
Mhm.
keep going then on your situation here, because I'm, like I said, I'm bought in. So probiotic, prebiotic, anti-inflammatory, you're kicking its ass.
Yes.
What else are you doing?
Just limiting stress and quality sleep is so important. Movement and exercise. When I first started, I couldn't walk more than 5 minutes. If I was having more than a 5 minute conversation, I would fall asleep mid conversation. I would wake up and not even remember what I was having a conversation. In order to get past that, the first 3 months, I focused on walking and doing a lot of walking since more than 5 minutes was challenging. I just did small increments many times a day, and I started to increase the amount. So if I could do 3 minutes, then I'll move it up to 4 minutes. And then eventually, as I was getting well with the anti-inflammatory diet, following gut health, and having this proper supplements and getting rest and limiting stress, it all came naturally where I started to just be able to, by 3 months, I was exercising. I was running again for the first time. My knees weren't giving out. My legs weren't giving out. I was able to be a mom again. I was able to be a daughter and a sister again. And I was able to be an aunt again that I wasn't able to for a very long time. And then I added phototherapy. That has been the very last piece of the puzzle, and it has given me the deeper repair restoration my body needed. It works the repair system as well as gives good essentials like glutathione, helping to raise your GHK peptide, and it helps give more energy, better sleep, less inflammation, helps with sports performance and exercise recovery. So you're not exhausted after a workout, you recover much quicker.
That's
Can you expand on that, like, not expand, but can you just talk a little bit more like your like your phototherapy like process? Like, how's that
Yeah.
start?
Yes, I wear patches. They come in the form of a patch about quarter size, where when you put them on your body, it takes your light within your body as well as the heat on your body, and it reflects the light back into your body. So it sends signals throughout your body to certain points, kind of in the way acupuncture does, but it's non-invasive, and it will do it through signals from the brain and light, and it works on your repair system. So it helps with wound healing, it helps with your hair, skin, and nails. The first couple weeks when I started it, I was sleeping 10 hours a night from sleeping only 4 to 6 hours in any given night, because sleep was a problem because I had lost so much sleep. My body was used to not getting any sleep, so I wasn't getting any sleep. So once I was able to get 10 hours a night, my body was able to start the repair that it needed to, because that is the time that it does the repair. And when I was not stressing as much, then that was taking away the damage as well too, because when we stress, it causes damage in the body as well.
Wow.
Yeah, no kidding. God bless. I'm 27. I feel like I'm 65. So let's touch on that really quick because I'm curious as well on your take on this. It seems like you have a good answer for everything else. So I'm excited to hear your answer on this one. What do you do? And I had real quick, hold on. I had no clue what the hell you guys were just talking about. I've never heard of that before. And I've heard about just about everything. I read constantly. I like to think of myself as a pretty intellectually avid guy. I've never heard of what was it called? Photo what?
Phototherapy.
I have never heard of that in my life. Why? Probably because it works and they don't want you to know about it. So that's probably why. Anyways, um, what is your take on stress management? How the hell do you deal with that? Because I think as of right now, being an American in 2024, we're one of the most stressed out societies in the world, right? We're constantly comparing ourselves to Instagram models and billionaires that we see on TikTok and all this crazy shit. We're constantly comparing ourselves to our neighbors, trying to keep up with the Jones. The world is tough. Everybody's hating each other. There's so much hate, hostility. The economy sucks. Everything's expensive. It's hard to do anything. Um,
Mm.
our food is making us feel like shit. We're all inflamed, right? So how do you handle that mental stress with all that being happening in the world today? How do you handle that?
Taking time for yourself every day, whether it's doing a favorite hobby, reading, going for a walk, journaling, finding time to just do breathing or meditation, or just finding something you enjoy to do. If you like doing golf, finding time to do golf. If you like to spend time with family, go spend time with family. Find an activity you all enjoy to do. Doing something each day to bring memories and to bring joy and to be happy, because that's what we all want in life, is to be happy and to be able to enjoy it. There's a lot of stress that goes around, but take time for yourself. Self-care is so important.
I think it's undervalued too. I mean,
Yes.
what you said is we all want to be happy, but I feel like people don't do the things that make them happy.
Right.
You know, for whatever reason. Maybe we run out of time or we give every bit of excuse, whatever. But like I really enjoy hunting and fishing. Like I said, I Matt and I are both in Missouri and it gets dark at fucking 6 o'clock on the dot for about another 3 weeks. But I got off work at 4:45 the other day and I was like, I've had a shit day. I'm going fishing. I fished for like 46 minutes. I didn't catch a damn thing, but it made me so happy just to be out there, right? Just to be out there. And I packed my bag and brought two poles. Like I was going to be out there for 6 hours, right? But just being out there and forcing myself to go and do something I enjoyed made my whole rest of my day better, you know? So I think there's a lot of validity in what you're saying. I think we just forget, you know,
Yes.
we get caught up with the rat race of life and the matrix or whatever you want to call it. We get caught up in that every day and people just forget to be happy.
I
And
feel
I love that you said that.
I feel like it's new. I mean, people are finally speaking out that they should take moments of their time and focus on, mental recovery. I mean, mental illness in the United States is still new. I mean, it's
Yeah.
great to take that moment of the day and do something that's making you feel better. And you shouldn't feel ashamed. And yeah, I'm glad you're able to find out what works for you.
Right.
Is there anything else part of your process that you've done? Because obviously you broke the code, right? I mean, you're a code breaker, you're a trailblazer, you're an innovator in this space, right? Like you were staring down death, and you know all these bad prognosis of all these doctors were saying, "Hey, this is it. You might want to fold your cards."
Mhm.
And you said, "Fuck it, I'm all in. I don't fold. I'm gonna go all in."
Mhm.
So, what else? I mean, is there anything else that you haven't shared with us yet that you do part of your process that has got these incredible results?
Those are the 5 main steps that I use. They can get more information about that. I have a free ebook that I offer to everyone at the number 5 and 5 steps dot simplywellrenewal.com. It's called 5 Steps to Vibrant Lifestyle.
I will definitely be downloading that, of course. Um, Is there any kind of paid content that you offer that maybe goes into a little deeper dive that people that are they get a taste, right? They get a taste of the free ebook, but then what's the next steps? What other kind of support do you offer?
I am going to be offering another master class soon, and I will be doing that very soon.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see it, honestly. Real quick, I know we're getting close on time here. Could you, just to kind of reiterate everything, could you give me the 5 steps one more time? In
Yeah.
order.
Yes. First one is anti-inflammatory diet and gut health. Second is supplements and good nutrition. Third is limiting stress and quality sleep. 4 is movement and exercise. And 5 is phototherapy.
Phototherapy. That's what I'm going to look into because now I'm curious really about it. All the other ones make perfect sense, but phototherapy, I'm really going to have to do some research about to see because maybe that's the game changer for me. You know, maybe that's just the last thing that's going to tip me over to make me just feel the best that I can feel.
It was the last piece to our puzzle, making it so that we feel our best now. We get up, I'm not tired. I have the energy I need to. If I sleep 4 hours one night, I'm still feel fully rested now.
That's awesome.
And I do have all the 5 steps in my book for anyone that wants more information and how to contact me.
At that domain you said?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. That's fantastic. Matt, did you have anything else that you wanted to cover? Because I'm just trying to hurry up and end this so I can go do research, to be honest with you. I'm so eager to learn more about the process, you know. So
Yeah, no, I mean, everything you said is just phenomenal. I can't wait to do more research myself. I'm really interested on that phototherapy. I've been trying to look into more of the red light therapy and focus more on like the breathing techniques. You know, I started reading a book. I think Nelson's something. He's pretty popular with. I think he has a book called Breathing. It's helped me out quite a bit so far. So I'll definitely look into your 5 steps and see what it can do for me.
Sounds great.
yeah, like I said earlier, I think you're an innovator, you're a trailblazer, a code breaker, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I think you've really made a lot of tremendous strides in this category, right? I mean, just back against the wall, you could have gave up, but instead you fought and fought and fought. And now you have this awesome tale to tell about your real life experiences and what you've done for you. And now all you get to do is just share that knowledge with others and help improve their quality of life. So, I mean, you're kind of giving the best gift possible, right? Because everybody's alive, but not everybody lives.
Right.
And you're allowing people to actually live, which is the best. So that's fantastic. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, we'll wrap it up here. Kim, thank you so much for coming on. It was awesome to learn about you a little bit more. I can't wait. I think you should come back on. I'd love to continuously learn about your journey and see other things you're maybe implementing into your strategy because obviously it's working.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's fantastic. So in this case, guys, if you've made it this far, go out there, follow Kim on everything, check out her website, download the free ebook. For God's sakes, it's free. Worst case, you learn something new that might help you out. There's no con to that. She definitely has the Be Better podcast endorsement from Matt and I. If you have, like I said, if you haven't made it this far, like, share, subscribe, check us out, listen, send me a message, whatever you want to do. But thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Kim, thank you so much for being on. Matt, thanks for being the best co-host out there. And if you're not going to do anything, just try to be better. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.